Julian Council, Locked on Panthers. He's on Twitter at Julian Council. Easy enough. How are you, dude?
Doing well, man. How are you, man?
The Saints stink and LSU is a dumpster fire. Let's just talk about the game.
Yeah, I was enjoying all the dumpster fireness of LSU last week, but it looks like maybe they've kind of gotten their stuff together over the last 48 hours.
Let's not revel in our misery. Let's stay on task here, Julian. Come on, man. Okay. Seriously though, Panthers, how've they done it?
Dude, I mean, great question, because I'm still trying to figure out how they've done it. They've done it by having a plan. Because for a while there, once David Tepper bought the team, there wasn't a coherent plan, especially when they gave Cam Newton the option to go seek a trade a couple of years ago, back when Matt Rule was too scared to coach him. They had no coherent plan at quarterback. We've seen that as Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold have left for greener pastures and had success individually in Tampa and in Seattle. And since then, at least they stuck to a plan of, okay, this is the guy we want to go after in Bryce Young. We're going to give up a lot to go get him, but they're going to stick by him. And things were a little shaky at the beginning of last season, but as we saw, second half of the year, Bryce looked like the guy that they were hoping he would be and the guy he looked like at Alabama. And still this season, he maybe has not played to that level, but he's been consistent. And also, the offensive line was always an issue. They invested the most money in the NFL at that position this season. Defensive line, you get Derek Brown back, add more pieces to that side of the ball as well on the D-line. And what do you know? You have a competent defense. So having a coherent plan and not changing coaches every year has them to the point where they're just a competent football team, Matt. Not a great football team, not a bad football team, competent, which is a long way from where they've been in recent years.
And in a bad division, you're very much in the mix if you're the Panthers for a wild card shot. It's absolutely within the realm of possibility. And look, Rico Dowdle is a big part of that, man. We heard the soundbite from Dave Canales coming in. Give me your impression about the guy averaging nearly 6 yards a carry so far through 9 games.
Did not see that coming at all. And if anyone did, I don't think he would have been signing to come to Carolina to be the number 2 back behind Chuba Hubbard for $2.75 million with another $3.5 million available in incentives. And he's going to get those incentives, by the way. He's already got $500,000. $3 million is certainly remaining that he can absolutely get to based off his performance.
Him.
And if they,
it's
awesome. And that has a lot of people asking, so what did the Panthers do about Rico next year? Like, y'all, just enjoy what he's done so far over the last couple of weeks. Like, those are February and early March conversations. We don't need to have that. The team's 5-4 for the first time since 2019. So just focus on how well he's playing. But yeah, man, he runs hard. And that's the thing about him. Like, it's not like Chuba Hubbard didn't do that, but there's a burst and explosiveness that you're seeing out of Rico that you didn't see from Chuba to start off this season. And I'm kind of curious how that will all play out after the year. But right now, you have statistically one of the top 3 backs in the league. We can look at since week 5 when he started that game against Miami that he's the leading rusher in the NFL. But throw that away. Go back to week 1. He's 3rd in rushing, and there's a ton of EPA categories, explosive rushing rate that have him in the top 3, even number 2 behind Jonathan Taylor up in Indianapolis, and he has been the best back in the league this year. So, yeah, Rico's been a revelation, and honestly, if they didn't have him, they're not 5-4 because it's not like they've gotten a lot out of the passing game so far this season. So he has been their offense, and he has been just outstanding.
Yeah, the Panthers are 30th in the NFL in passing offense. So really, they're clearly doing it on the ground. Team started 1-3, but they've won now 4 of their last 5. But I want to ask Julian, look at the last 2 games: a 40-9 home loss to the Bills, and then go on the road to Lambeau and beat the Packers 16-13. Like, you could not have 2 more diametrically opposed results. So, which is more these Panthers?
Yeah, it's not the first time that's happened either because they beat Atlanta 30-0. I don't think much of the Saints. I'm sure you don't. I know your audience certainly doesn't. But they win 30-0 in that game and then go back the next week and lose 42-13 against a Patriots team that we didn't know yet was good. The next week, New England won on Sunday night in Buffalo. So it's like, okay, they're a good football team. Maybe not that big of a deal. But you're right. To lose 40-9 at home, and I'll tell you the demographics here in Charlotte, there's a lot of Bills fans. That was actually really a Bills home game than a Panthers home game. Either way, You lost by 31 points at home to a very good Bills team. How in the world are you going to win in Green Bay? I didn't think they were going to be competitive at all in that football game because I had seen them get blown out by New England and by Buffalo by a combined 60 points. And I had seen them beat the Jets, beat who else is that? Miami, and see that, okay, clearly they're not a terrible team, but they're clearly not a great football team. So maybe they're like right there in the middle. So I still think after the win against the Packers, that's what they are, because there's still games against 49ers, against the Rams, 2 against Tampa, who I think will win the division, and a game against Seattle and Sam Darnold, their old friend from his time in Carolina. So I still feel like after the upset, they're probably on track to be an 8-win team, which is so much better than where they've been again. So I think they're more of still one of those middle-of-the-road teams that's going to be in the hunt for the playoffs, but I don't think it's going to be a playoff team. Now, if they are able to obviously pull off an upset against some of these other teams later on, then they're a lot better than I thought they were. But I have not seen enough out of Bryce Young and the passing game in particular to believe that they really can be that next tier of teams in the league.
Julian Council is with us at Julian Council. We can get him on X, Locked on Panthers podcast, YouTube. Get it where you find your podcast or there on YouTube. So we talked about the offense, right? I mean, one of the top running games in the league, one of the worst passing games in the league. What about defensively? Where's the strength defensively for Carolina?
The strength has been stopping the run, which was the major weakness last year when they gave up 3,000 yards rushing on the ground and had the worst scoring defense in the history of the NFL. I understand 17 games were played last year. That hasn't always been the case. Doesn't matter. You're living in infamy there with the way they play defensively. Now, getting Derek Brown back is obviously important. He got hurt in that game against New Orleans week 1 last year. Tore his meniscus, was out for the 16 games the rest of the way. Him coming back in, you see it every single week. I don't know if you follow Brian Baldinger of the NFL Network on Twitter, but every week he's showing you just Derek Brown ragdolling another 300-pound man in front of him on the interior of offensive line. So that's just some sick stuff that he's doing. But A'Shaun Robinson's been really good. So with Bobby Brown III, who came over from the Rams, and same thing also with Turk Wharton, who came over from Kansas City. They really wanted to invest on the interior, and that's been a strength. And it's not just those guys. You have someone like Christian Roseboom, who had struggled early on in the season, had his best game on Sunday against the Packers. Trevin Wallace's second year as a starter at inside linebackers really come of age. Trevon Merrick, who was Defensive Player of the Week in the NFC, he's also been one of those guys who actually step up in the box and make some plays. So the strength of the defense has been stopping the run. They had that one, which seems to be an outlier performance against Buffalo, who's one of the best running teams in the league a couple of weeks ago. But last week against the Packers team that maybe should focus more on passing, they were right back to their old ways like they were against Dallas and against Miami and some of the other teams where they had that 3-game stretch where they only allowed 131 yards on the ground. So stopping the run, which was a major weakness, has now become a major strength for this team. At least has been a strength for the defense.
The Saints near the bottom of the league, averaging just 129 yards a game on the ground. It's been not great. What would be Julian, Carolina's blueprint Sunday to get a win, move to 6-4?
Take care of your business, just show up, honestly. If we looked at how New Orleans has played this season, like this is one of those games where I look at the way they played against the Jets. They didn't play well, but the Jets are the Jets, and they shoot themselves in the foot by making mistakes. And New Orleans, as I've seen, has turned over 14 times so far this season, which is right there among the bottom of the league. So if you just take care of the ball and you keep handing it to Rico, who hasn't been stopped, and he did miss practice today with a quad injury, which is something that looked like it popped up against Green Bay, but he played through it. I'm not expecting that he'll miss any time on Sunday. You just hand it to Rico, get enough out of Bryce, because they got only 102 passing yards on Sunday, and they beat the Packers. So I'm not expecting you need to have 200, 300-yard passing day from Bryce in order to win the game on Sunday against the Saints. It's just be able to win the turnover battle, hand the ball to Rico, and the defense just stop the run and put the game on Tyler Shuck's shoulders, and that should be enough, I would think, against a one-win team.
Julian Council, Locked on Panthers. Get him on Twitter, X at Julian Council. Always appreciate it, man. Thanks for the time.
Absolutely, Matt. We'll be staying tuned to see what happens the next month and a half down there in Baton Rouge.
It's never boring, man. I'll tell you that much.
No, it's not.
Good to catch up, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. Take care.
Hi, buddy. Be well. Julian Council, good dude. We've been able to connect a lot over the years, SEC Media Days and different events. Does a great job. Check out Locked. Good week to check out Locked on Panthers if you want to get your Panthers content this week with the Saints heading up to Charlotte. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.